Hi, my beautiful Gemini. Thank you very much, so much for being here. I'm feeling you, February. I feel in a fellow air sign and also in a fellow communicative sign is going to be way beyond the worth of things. I feel is questioned. I feel that you are suddenly understanding how much time or energy you've spent, and perhaps all Geminis have sometimes a frivolous period where they just bob up and down and tell people what's what for nothing, and suddenly worth. The value of your future is here to be examined. The value and the quality of your time, also the value and the quality of the relationships that you have. And this is the thing, is that most of people with Gemini aspects want to go much further than their families. They want to sometimes work out something for themselves that is much further and much lighter than where they have belonged before. And what I unfortunately see for you guys on some scale is that you might question the value and the worth and the wealth, the system in which you are. And I feel that you might also get very unapologetically argumentative and very strong, and you might start to point fingers or poke fun at other people where you have come to belong, based on you feeling perhaps also abused or feeling lesser loved than before. You might suddenly call up your mom and tell her that she was wrong. You might here suddenly take somebody aside and tell them that they fully owe you for something that happened 7 years ago and such. So the thing here is that value, quality, the feeling of what you have, the feeling of what has been done, the suggestible of time, the timeline that you keep, and also what has been offered to you when you have probably been flat out offering yourself to people for such a long time, where you have been in so much joy, you've been so much care, so much love for other people. You might really have to sit down and work things out in your head, I feel, because simply sometimes also with such a big year and such a beautiful lovely time, and this even angular month of Aquarius being truly subdued and softened and warmed by the pig year this time around. We don't sometimes have the strength, the understanding, the mental, the social, the psychic know-how to really give you what you want. And that is where I feel you might feel like you're falling short. So sometimes, yes, it is a time to ask for dues. Sometimes it is a time to ask what you owe me, how things have gone, why didn't you call me, or like, I don't belong here, why have I been here for the last 10 years, That is great to ask. And there will be times, but since we're in a very mellow, very formal, perhaps soft sounding time, and this particular year is so soft and juicy, it might be very, very emotional for you to reach out and ask that question maybe more than once from a person that can't understand. And the thing that you might also want to see is sometimes people are kind of like clouded over, and it's not because they're dumb, and it's not because they're not up to it, and it's not because they are disgracing you or discrediting your friendship. Sometimes it is just because the people are so sound or so trying to be attuned during a pig year, and they're so sensitized by it all, or perhaps they're finally finding also such a spiritual February this time. They're suddenly finding that freedom to talk about themselves and feel their heart and reach out with their hopes and dreams. And when you come in and you suddenly, do this, and you're like, come on, this is the time. Sometimes with Geminis, there is a little curse of being out of time, and perhaps this could be one of those times. So if you are asking for a raise, if you're asking for a promotion, if you're wanting somebody to stay there that is going, if you are trying to make a friend stay, or make somebody turn, or make somebody interested in you, or make somebody change, or if you're wanting to finally launch that invoice or shake the tree, suddenly you stomp your feet, you ask for forgiveness very abruptly, or you ask for change. If you are asking for change during this time, please consider the position of the beggar, or the position of someone who doesn't belong anywhere. It's a very, very easy way to be a martyr during this time, also martyrdom and feeling lack, and also returning to childish patterns of innocence and lack and not feeling understood by your parents or understood by the world. That is here coming back. This is coming for many people, for lots of us during this particular month. If we can't just sequence with maturity and maybe with a slightly tired gaze on the all, create a nice connectable space for ourselves and a really nice smooth ride. We're trying to make a smooth ride, and here you are with a bobsled. Okay, I'm ready to run. It's important to retain, if you though have these reality checks, all realizations that you have a sacred meaning to them on some level. So if you have these sudden gaps and sudden need to change or need to speak or need to suddenly abrupt and run and change and shift, you might be onto something or someone. You might suddenly understand the full capacity of your growth and your being, and you might feel exactly that you're being ripped off or you're being left behind, which is on some level probably true. But you have to also consider that here, if you have a very angular strategy, you might not get anything, or you might get only a tiny bit of what you ask for. For example, you're launching a complaint, you want to get your money back, you're suing somebody, and you might only get 20%. The idea here is basically to lay it low and try to find some kind of a new strategy to really believe and understand. Maybe you need a meditation space, maybe you need to calm down, and also make sure that if you are in a pattern, suddenly you realize where you've been shortcut or short done, and you suddenly realize I've been underpaid, I've been unloved for all this time. The idea here is to be calm and nurturing, especially during a pig year, enough to let these realizations come through gently and peacefully without having to stash up your life, closing your eyes, doing what you're doing, making a sequence that later is a corrupt sequence that you have to knock down. So there needs to be a nice, kind center to everything that you're doing, to all that you're saying, and who you are becoming. So please, 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 Gemini, stay compassionate during this time. And for those Geminis that want an extra reading for this, these are going to be on Patreon, so I will be posting a link in the section below. So very nice to see you, very nice to connect, and I will see you next month. Thank you very much. Bye.